And we are back.
We are back, bumblebees.
Episode 2 with Emmanuel about corn addiction. If you guys were here for last week's episode, there was a lot of stimulating conversation, some religion talk. But I feel the need to give you the disclaimer again. We are going to be talking about addiction. That word is probably going to be used. I'm sure it will slip again. It slipped a couple of times in the last one. We will be referring to that as corn. So when we say that, we're not meaning Fritos or any type of food. We are actually talking about addiction. So with that being said, let's just jump right back into where we were. There's no need to give them a little bit of fluff, so to speak. Let's just...
One of the things I wanted to touch on, we were talking about, is, swearing a little bit and going, I'm not swearing as much anymore. And one of the biggest things we teach is just taking one step in the right direction. A lot of times people think, I accepted the Lord, now I just need to be this perfect so I can get this love from the Lord. And that's not how this thing works, right? The Lord loves us and he wants what's best for us. But when we talk about one step at a time, I used to swear all the time. You'd think I'd work on a boat. But anyway, slowly but surely starts going away. And it's the same thing with a corn addiction, the same thing with any type of addiction. It's not just, I never have a craving, I never have a bad thought, I never have whatever. One of the biggest things we tell people is just take one step in the right direction each day. One step, not too much. Because if you tell your brain, I'm just done being this old life and I'm done with everything and all of a sudden, it's literally the same as someone who's saying, I'm 600 pounds and now I'm going to have a six pack. I'm going to have and those people who get the liposuction to get 400 pounds taken out of their body, what happens to them?
They get fat again.
They get fat again because they're not handling the real problem. So the 600-pound person, all you need to do is say, I'm going to sign up at the gym. Don't even go in. Just call in online. The next day, go into the gym. Just get a feel for the layout. Next day, go in, talk to a trainer. Next day, go in, walk on the treadmill. Next day, go in, jog on the treadmill. Well, maybe not the fifth day jogging on the treadmill, 600 pounds, but one step.
Right.
And that person, we've seen it before. Over time, all of a sudden, they have a six-pack and they change their life and all this stuff. And it's because they're taking it one step at a time. And that would be one of my biggest encouragements to people. No matter what they're going through in this life, just take one step in the right direction.
There's a re-education that takes place in all of that, the transformation and all of that too, because if you really want something, you're going to do the research to get it, right? And that's the answer to the addiction problems. For people like you have created programs to help people with those things. If they really, truly want it and they're willing to take the steps, the first step would be just finding your website.
Yep.
Yeah. The food thing is a big deal. The people that lose all that weight with lipo and they get the band surgery, they have to learn how to eat because we don't eat real food anymore. Everything is food-like products. If you look at your label and it's a can of tomatoes and it says tomatoes, water, and then 9 other things, you're not getting a can of tomatoes, right? So, that's very much a thing, and it's like that with everything. We everything is so polluted. It's disgusting to me, but
absolutely.
Okay, so you got your program built out. You had David start building your army. What came next?
What came next is just hearing different people's stories. One of the biggest things we were like, God, I hope this is what you want us to really do. Those 2 years of just preparation before getting to all these points. And slowly but surely, it's been building up this army of just figuring out how to best help people, how to best support them. One of the biggest things, which I know you guys are so huge on, is extreme accountability. We cannot force someone to overcome something. That person, that spouse, that parent, that teammate, whoever that person is, you cannot force someone to overcome something. All they can do is spot you. If we're the gym, we can give you the workout plan. We can open up the doors. That other person can only spot you. They cannot lift the weights for you. And that's been one of the saddest things that we've seen is we thought it was just going to be a bunch of men reaching out to us saying, my wife wants to kill me. My wife's so upset. And we've had, unfortunately, so many women reach out to us say, I know he has these OnlyFans accounts. I know he's reaching out to these people. Can you force him to quit? Can you do all this stuff? And it's incredibly, incredibly sad when we experience that. And we pray for those people. And, we've seen massive, massive transformations, but you cannot force someone to overcome something. They need to have that moment for themselves and then ask for that help. And then just helping them take that one step is the biggest thing that you can do.
It's the same conversation that we had with Matt Bell.
It is.
They do a podcast called Addiction After Hours where they go to the streets and they interview people who are in active addiction and tell them, like, if you could snap your fingers right now and get on a plane to one of our recovery centers, would you take it? And most of the time, 99% of the time, they say no because they're still in active addiction and they want to be.
Right.
So that is the want to change has to be there, and they have to be willing to do the work, like you said. Do you get? That's heartbreaking. The women writing in trying to get their husband to. Can you make him quit? We get a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the big things, OnlyFans has come along now. This is that new wave, and porn is free online. Why are people paying people for this fake relationship that's going on? And
They're trying to buy an in.
they're trying to buy an end. They're trying to buy fulfillment. They're trying to buy excitement. They're trying to buy a number of different things. And explaining, which is incredibly hard to hear and understand and fully comprehend, explaining to the spouses, to the teammates, to whoever it is, it's not that they hate you, they don't want to be with you, that they have something pain related going on inside that they're trying to handle, and it's affecting this relationship over here, right? Learning that, hey, there's some deeper pain. We had a couple, I will not get into all the details. You're gonna have to put way too many disclaimers on it, but long story short, husband and wife, they're in their 50s, and he starts sharing to me, and while she's on the call as well too, here's all this abuse I dealt with when I was just a young child. And she's going, I had no idea about this. And I said, have you told this to anyone else? He said, I've told this to one other person in my life. It happened when I was this is literally 40, 50 years he's been holding this in. And I'm going, oh my goodness. And that's what we always say. It's not about corn, right? Yes, corn is a problem. That's not the root problem we need to deal with. Once the root problem is dealt with, we no longer have the urge to get there. And we recommend things like Covenant Eyes, which is great. It blocks you from going to bad websites. What it does that's better, though, it sends a report to your teammate, to your accountability partner, if they went to these websites and I don't know if they should have been there. And so I know I can go look at it if I want to, but I don't want to because then my partner's going to see it. So that doesn't stop me. I'm out of town. I could just go to Staples or something like that. But having that blocker gives me a moment of pause and I go, why am I feeling this in this moment? And then I reach out to the teammate, just like we were talking about when I'm hungry. I reach out to my teammate and I go, what's really going on? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, bored, stressed? Is there a deeper trauma going on? And we have to reteach people how to communicate with themselves, with others, how to get those needs, how to heal those wounds. And once we do that, they can live that life of freedom. But until they do that, they're going to struggle with this and it's going to be tough.
There's a lot that I want to touch on in that one. A lot. Let's start with the abuse thing.
Yeah.
You know that it has become such a commonplace for women who have been abused to just talk about it like it's just a normal thing for women who have been abused. And like a lot of women have that story, and the amount of men who have been abused that will never ever talk about it. They're not going to therapy. They're not telling on the people who touched them or did whatever they did. They're taking that to the fucking grave. And they're doing so because as men, when that happens, we don't have our manhood anymore. Like we are no longer viewed as whole. We don't see ourselves that way a lot of the time as well. That's a very big discussion that needs to be had. And obviously that's not my place to have that discussion. But I think that when you say things like that, it is important to remember that could be an underlying thing for a lot of people who are just not willing to discuss it.
Yeah.
The other thing that you mentioned was the app. What was it called?
Covenant Eyes.
Covenant Eyes.
Yep.
Is this something that you guys developed, or is this just something that already existed? I've never heard of that.
I wish. It's a great product. It's a great thing.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's an app that you can put on all your devices, and it blocks websites, but more importantly, it does the accountability reports of these are the websites. We think these are sketchy. We think there might be something going on, and it sends that report to them weekly, daily, monthly, whatever they want.
So this is something that parents could use with their kids as well, just to monitor what's being done on the internet, kind of like Bark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Do you think that because I've never heard of it. I've heard of Bark only because of Troy.
Correct.
Have you heard of Change Unchained?
I haven't heard of that one.
We just did a 3-part interview with Troy, who is the founder of that organization, and he rescues trafficked, exploited, and missing children. Because it's not. He does all three, right? But he was telling us about the Bark app, and it's something that when our kids get a little bit older and actually start using technology a little bit more, I think that we'll probably end up using. But knowing that there's an app that will send reports to another person like that, do you think that those apps will end up becoming a device for control? Because I see that as a way for people who are over manipulative or over controlling to be used to monitor somebody's access to anything. Does it work that way?
Yeah,
it
I mean,
just specific
you can block whatever websites you want and do that. I think that's more of a problem with the other person of something that's going on. I mean, anything can be used for good or for evil.
Right.
You know, sex is a beautiful thing. We're talking about how it's distorted and how the devil is, you know,
Right.
taken and ruined it. Same idea with something like this. You can say, hey, we're gonna, you know, be Amish and we're gonna only read, 10 books a week, and things that may be a little bit too far.
Right.
And so healthy balance, and there's a spectrum of what's healthy and with that, but
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where my brain went with that, because we have, there's a lot of darkness on our podcast that never makes it to the recording. We had to hire email screeners because some of the shit that we were getting that involved abuse and DV and SA and things like that got to be too much for us, to the point where she wasn't sleeping anymore, and like it was creating a lot. There was a 4-month period in all of this where we almost walked away from it because it became very heavy. And then luckily we had people that were willing to step up and work for free, because at the time the money wasn't there. We weren't making revenue to really, and now we have paid employees, but that was a very, very hard time for us. So whenever anything like that comes up, my brain goes to the dark side of how can somebody abuse this, and knowing that those apps are a thing, like, is that a consensual thing? Like for a husband and a wife who are trying to overcome a corn addiction, is it possible for one of them to put it on the other person's phone without them knowing? Like, how does that app work?
yeah, one of the funny things is I actually didn't become the ultimate expert in it because I didn't want to know how to work around it and all these types of things. But in general, you have to give them your devices. They put on all types of passcodes and different things. And it's important to do that, because if you're just putting passcodes on your own phone, so many people try to do that. I'm going to block this website, and they just unblock it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going to put the in that room over there. It's like, you're just going to go to that room,
yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, I'm going to put it in that room. I'm going to give you this key. Can you lock that door? And can you take the key and move it away? Now, if I need to go into that room for some reason, I can ask them, can you walk into that room with me?
Right.
Can you give me the key? Now, I could always still break down the door, just like I could go buy some cheap iPad and I'm out of town. But instead of doing that, right, I didn't go out of town all the time, right, when I was going through the addiction. I said, you know what, I need to slow down. I need to maybe not go out as much. Maybe I don't go to Miami's beach. Maybe I go to a beach in Maine where there's, one person and a seagull walking by or something like that. Those are very different places.
Right.
So you are voluntarily going into a place where you're going to have that protection. You're asking for that protection, because ultimately, just like we're talking about, it's that person's choice to go to the gym. It's that person's choice to overcome this addiction. All you can do is help support them and help them through this. And some people need way more help than others.
Right.
Some people need, and that's one of the biggest things we say early up front in our program, is like, some of you, this is the start. This ain't the end, right? Some of you need to start going to therapy. Some of you need to start going to essay. Some of you need to start going to whatever that thing is, because we're opening up a lot. And then other people, you need to go through this program. At 30 days, you're going to be feeling freedom. You're going to feel great, But other people, like that gentleman I was talking to, it's like, I asked him, I go, what do you think about going to therapy? What do you think about that? And what was crazy about it, he's probably 55. I mean, shaking like a little boy, because I'm talking to that little boy who was abused, and he's going, I think that'd be good. And I'm just going, that's good. Let's get that signed up. Let's get that started. And we got to handle that pain going on inside, because until we do, he's going to keep going down that rabbit hole and down these places. And that's why we have people go through it together as a team, because they both need to understand what's going on. Why are we going through this? It's not, I'm actively trying to hurt this other person. Because if they wanted just to hurt the other person, they just leave them and just move on from them and get a divorce or get out of the relationship. But it's teaching them that there's something deeper going on inside, and they need a team around them to help them learn how to communicate with themselves and handle that.
Do you guys actually provide a network of counselors that you're able to send people to?
We don't, just because there's so many things now, like a BetterHelp or whatever. One of the things we do is we go over, here's what you should look for and not look for, or not look for, but maybe if your therapist is saying, this and that, and like, well, it's actually the star and the moon are over there. Maybe that I wouldn't be the person I'd recommend to go to or something like that. But we recommend, here's the things you should look for and not look for. Things of that nature, yeah.
BetterHelp is actually somebody that is sponsoring the podcast next year.
Oh, great. There you go. BetterHelp.
So where does things go from there?
Well, one of the things when people are going through the program that makes us a little bit different, it's just kind of when they finish the program, I offer like a Monday office hours call. So if somebody wants to talk, I'm there for them. But I don't want them talking to me. I want them talking to that teammate and starting to develop that team around them of friends, family, and other people supporting them. one of the biggest things when someone goes through the program, and one of the things that's helped me so much is now I'm actively fighting against this. I'm not fighting my own addiction. Now I'm fighting against this evil power. And that is an incredibly, incredibly helpful and powerful thing, because so many people are struggling with this that you would have no idea, because this thing hides in plain sight. When I put out that this is something that I was struggling with, I was getting people reaching out to me on burner phones going,
Wow.
I'm someone that you know, and I'm somebody powerful, whatever. And I can't tell you who I am, but I was supposed to have bought this house and I haven't been able to because I've been giving all my money to, this OnlyFans or this, whatever it may have been. And just the amount of people that have done that, I'm just going, this is insane. Pulled me aside, talk quietly. And one person's vulnerability opens up that next person's vulnerability, opens up to the next person. And one of the biggest things we always say is just, this is not an easy process, but it's worth it. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It will be very difficult, but it will be worth it when you work through it and when you handle that pain that's going on inside.
Okay, that led me to questions. The earlier, because I thought about this earlier and I just let it go, but I'm curious again. When you first started looking into this, you said that a lot of the websites that you guys were looking into were saying things like it's infidelity, he's cheating, he's going to leave him, be prepared, blah, 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 blah. Do you view porn as infidelity?
I would. I would. I think there's different degrees of it, and there's different types of it, and there's all types of different ways that we can talk about it. But I think the ultimate thing is whether somebody is somebody's cheating, somebody's, doing whatever, where is this coming from? What's going on? Because oftentimes we demonize marijuana as the devil's lettuce. It's like, okay, it's like, is somebody going to die if they smoke one blunt this year? They're probably going to be okay. But why is somebody smoking 15 times a day or smoking 4 blunts or whatever these things are going on? And so when it comes to, is this infidelity? Is this not infidelity? I would say it absolutely is. That's what I would say.
Okay. And then the other thing that I was going to ask you is when it comes to things, I'm sure you're familiar with the roommate phase comment, term roommate phase in a marriage.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. I know that you had statistics. Is there anything in there about the roommate phase on your list of statistics?
I don't believe I have too much on there about that.
Okay, so while you look for that, I want to lay some things out. Everybody goes through the honeymoon phase where everything is lustful and exciting in a relationship. We know that on average, that ends at around the 2-year mark. Mm-hmm. You no longer look at your person through rose-colored glasses. You start to see the red flags in them. You start to see their flaws. Yep. You may be not as attractive to them anymore. And things shift from the 2-year honeymoon phase into what a lot of people call it the roommate phase, and then into the 7-year itch, which was a whole different thing. But when people get into the roommate phase, from what we've gathered, that's when a lot of people start finding themselves into porn addictions because they're no longer sexually attracted to that person for whatever the reason is. But now they're comfortable. They've built a life together. They're not trying to leave that. So they start looking to fulfill or scratch that itch in other ways.
One of the biggest things with that is we ultimately desire love, connection, and intimacy. And sex is an overflow of these things going on right there. Corn teaches you, no, it's about lust, it's about power, it's about desire, it's about whatever you want. Just you can get it now, and that just instant gratification. And so slowing down, and we have to reteach people, sex is about love, connection, and intimacy. I remember, I forget the book off the top of my head, but just they said it like 15 times over and over. And it was like the 14th or 15th time, it was like, oh, it's not about getting off. It's not just about this animalistic desire. It's what is the purpose of sex? God created this for a reason. It's not just this animalistic thing.
To go forth and be fruitful.
Right. That is definitely part of it.
Well, but that's the argument that people are going to have with the Andrew Tates of the world and the fall of what it is to be a gentleman, that we are now told that we are supposed to just have multiple partners and that your marriage is no longer a covenant. It is that whole thing is bullshit anyways, but that is the message that is being delivered to a lot of people. And we are getting emails from people who are the byproduct of that, where they found those podcasts and they laid into that and it destroyed their relationship. And they're like, I'm successful in business now and I've got money, but my wife hates me. Right. And I've got this side chick at the office, and like, that's not, I only brought that up because that's, relevant to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm praying for you, Andrew, if you're listening to this right here. And I think he's trying to mean well with a lot that he's doing, but I think, he is, the king of the half truths, and there's some things where you go, yeah, it is good to be in shape. It is good to be masculine. Is it? Okay, but is it good to be having a warehouse of women who are doing OnlyFans for you for money, for your desires? What's your ultimate purpose? What are you here to do? And for him, he's there to bang as many chicks as he can, make as much money as he can, have as much power as he can. And that's not from God. That's from the evil one is where that's coming from. So I think he's lost. I hope one day he finds his way. And, that's all I could say about that. That's for sure. I wish I could say more, but I won't, because this is we're going to keep it PG-13 right now.
Yeah, there's a lot in all of that. He's very charismatic as a talker. Yeah. And I fell down that rabbit hole a little bit when we first started, because I was listening to a lot of the things he was saying, and I agreed with almost all of it. But I'm getting clips. Right. And the clips that you get are curated to the things that you're already liking. Right. So when you're getting the clips that reinforce what you already think, you're not seeing the other side of things. Right. And I don't want algorithms to think for me. I don't want TikTok or conservative media outlets or leftist media outlets. I want to hear all sides of everything and allow me to think for myself and form my own opinion. And I had to actually seek that out, because everywhere I looked, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Google, even, I had to remove myself from Google, log out of my browser and go into DuckDuckGo to do research to find the other side of things, because it didn't matter how you searched it. It tells you what you already want to know, because it keeps you engaged. And then that's how I found the webcam thing that he was doing, where he had men on the other side of the camera talking to other dudes. And then there's interviews with him bragging about how he's taking dudes for millions of dollars. And that's just a couple years ago. And now he's making men content to like pro man. Yeah. And I'm like, where were you when you were robbing people blind? Yeah. You're a pro man. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people who are watching, listening, all this stuff, they're just going, I could never do this. I could never overcome this. No one could ever understand my story. And I talked about it right at the start. Just have one moment of strength, one moment of vulnerability. And if you really think that Corn is helping your relationships and stuff, that's a lie. I'm speaking to you right now. That's a lie. You know that's a lie. Stand up, do what's right. Have one moment of strength and vulnerability, because that one moment completely changed my life. And I think about every time when somebody signs up for a course, I'm like, if I didn't stand up to this, if Becca didn't have the courage to fight, what would have happened to those marriages? What would have happened to what would have happened to all these things? And I fell into the trap of, I'm a pretty good guy. I give money to charity. I go to church every once in a while. I'm not killing people, and that's where the devil ultimately wanted me, is just in that happy medium spot. He just wants me to drift. All of a sudden I'm 80 and then I die, and he wasn't that bad. He wasn't that good. He was just kind of, did more good than bad. And that's the trap that people fall into. And I'm not trying to just do good things and never sin and things like that. I'm trying to live the life that God has put out in front of me and follow him. But I think ultimately, when I just had that moment of just going, you know what, I need to stand up and fight this thing, that was one of that moments of ultimate freedom. So it just takes time, it takes effort, but it all starts with one moment of strength and vulnerability. That's what people need to remember.
Do you have anything?
Did you, in like the midst of your corn addiction, did you have to relearn to be attracted to your wife?
Absolutely.
That's a good question.
Absolutely. Becca is so beautiful. I love her. And one of the craziest things, one of the most beautiful things about this is our sexual connection, our sexual routine, our whatever you want to call it, just started slowly changing. And I remember this one time, we were just laying there afterwards and we're just kissing each other. We're just holding each other. We're just hugging each other. And I'm like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. This is amazing. This is incredible. And just having that love, connection, and intimacy and just getting to feel that was just absolutely incredible. And like we said, corn is poison for the mind. And it had absolutely just started to wither my mind away. And I knew that she's beautiful. I knew that she's sexy. I knew I wanted to have sex with her, but I just couldn't do that. And it was just, there was this block in my brain, and that takes time. And that just, again, comes back to just give it time. Your brain did not get messed up in one day and will not be healed in one day. And just remembering that as people go through the process. Absolutely.
You earlier mentioned that a lot of the earlier things that you guys found were saying that you should watch it together. That was another one that you said, and that one that kind of got to you a little bit. So why is that such a thing for you?
I think, one of the big things I want to make a distinction between is having fun does not equal good.
Right.
Doing with your partner can be fun. Not that we have experience, okay? But that can be a lot of fun. Watching corn with your partner can be fun. Fun does not equal good. There's a difference here. What it can do at the start, just like the half-truth, just like the Great Deceiver talks, it can be fun. You're coming together. Ooh, look at this, look at that. And then all of a sudden, you're looking more at the screen. And then you're getting into your own desires. And then slowly but surely, you're drifting apart. You're not getting closer together. And so that's what we like to talk to people about is one of the big things is it's been proven, it's been studied. This is scientific. This isn't just religion talk. This has been shown to actually make people more divided than coming together. And if that is something that you guys are into, it's okay. Just slow it down. And when you start to have sex with your partner again, one of the first things that Beck and I did, I just said, I'm having ED. I'm having all these problems. Can we go really slow? Can we go slow? The man asking to go slow. For those first 30 to 60, 90 days, I was just kind of like, I don't know if it's going to be an awesome day, a bad day, a whatever day. And what was beautiful about that is we just got to focus on being together, kissing, caressing, loving each other, talking to each other, laughing, all these little things, and that love, connection, and intimacy flowed to sex at that point. And that sex was just absolutely incredible. So knowing the difference between fun and good is a very, very different thing. Yeah.
That was a really good way to put that.
Well, I mean, we see that and we hear that. So there's going to be men out there and I've actually heard men say this, who say that they watch it to get them going because otherwise they can't get it up.
Right. Yeah, and that's definitely part of it. When you're first getting off of it, your mind has been so trained that you need sex 24/7. You need 12 women. You need them to do it exactly this certain way. Your brain has been brainwashed, and I'm here to help wash your brain and to make it better again so you can live the life that you're supposed to. You do not need to have sex 12 times a day. For anyone who's listening, you don't need that. I thought I'm a sex machine. I have too much testosterone. I'm too manly of a man. And it's like, once I stopped watching it, it was like, oh, I don't need to be having sex 12 times a day. I don't need to be thinking about it all the time. I don't need to be, and just all that stuff just started to wade away. And now with Beck and I, it's so much more about, hey, let's have love, connection, intimacy. If we have sex tonight, that's great. And if we don't, that's fine as well. But that is just brainwashing that's gone on in that person's mind. And it's going to take a hot second for that brain to be washed pure again. And that's what we talk about. Just take one step in the right direction.
For you to understand the love, intimacy aspect of things, how long did it take for you to really register that? And how did that affect your marriage once it registered for you? And I'm going to go into that, but I want you to answer that first.
Yeah, I would say around 40 to 60 days, my brain started to have that healing process.
Okay.
I started to feel that, yeah.
Okay, so that's a long time.
Yeah.
40 days is...
Yeah.
40 days
was a desert.
Can be a long time, right?
Yeah.
But you know that there is a light at the end of that if you stick with it. The reason I asked about the love and the intimacy aspect is because of the emails that we get because women experience intimacy differently than men do, right? I heard somebody say today, actually it might have been something I think that you sent me, that men want to feel desired so that we don't just feel like a provider and a paycheck, right? So for men to want a woman to be like, hey, you look really good in them shoes. Whatever. You give us a compliment. We're like a dog. Our tail starts wagging. And we that one compliment can sustain us for weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're not used to getting them. And it makes us feel like we are more than a paycheck or more than just a protector or a provider. So that goes a long way for us. But we get the emails from women who saying the intimacy is gone. I slow dance with her in the kitchen. I will make it a point to just come in there while she cooks and hang out. And there's people who are going to hear this and go, well, why don't you cook with her? Because it's her kitchen and there's knives in there and I
get
know
frustrated.
better. So mind your business. She gets slow dances in the kitchen and I get dinner. That's our dynamic. Eat it. But I go out of my way to make sure that she has those intimate moments. We were actually late this morning too, by the way.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to tell you that because you guys were way later than us. But we said 10. We got here at like 10:05 because I had to run to the bank this morning. But when I got home, she was on our front porch. We have a screen in Lanai, and she's sitting out there enjoying the cool weather because it's never cool like this in Florida. And I got out of the car, saw her sitting there. I'm like, "Are you ready?" And she's like, "Yep." And I went around and I opened the car door for her, and I went back and got back inside of my car, and she came and sat down. And that is an intimate moment for us because she knows that she could have opened that door on her own. She's more than capable of, but I made it a point to be a gentleman. Those small acts of intimacy go a long way with a woman because it shows that she's still appreciated and she's still loved. So having that re-education and being a gentleman and having that intimacy and that love returned to you, how did that affect the dating aspect of your marriage? Because you did say that it took about 40 days for you guys to start to feel that love again, but do you find yourself less argumentative or less combative? Do you find that the angstiness or the frustrations from your wife decreased when that intimacy returned? Because I feel like that fills their love meter way more than sex ever will.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Talking about anger, impulse control, two things. When I was a kid, I wanted to play in the NBA, and I used to shoot 1,000 shots a day, which would take about 3 to 3.5 hours to do. You have to be like a wild man to just sit in a gym by yourself, no rebounder, shooting a ball for 3.5 hours. I wanted it that bad. When I started watching Korn, my impulse control almost started to go completely away to the point where pretty quickly when I was exiting high school, I couldn't wait from leaving high school to getting back to the house. I'm watching it on the car ride home because I don't even have the ability to just, I got to watch it. So the impulse control part, it took my brain some time to get that back. There has been so many times, countless times, where I just go, oh, if that moment, that tiny thing happened before, I would have blown my lid. I would have been upset. I would have been angry. I had no idea how much Korn was affecting my mind until I got off of it. And just the peace and the lack of paranoia. I could hand my phone to anybody in this room right now. We have a studio audience of 300 people right there. They're just very quiet. And I could hand my phone to anyone, and I'm not nervous about anything going on. And just having that took me months of just like, I don't have to be scared anymore. I don't have to be freaked out anymore. I don't have to be any of these things. And that, just being nice to her, all of those things, absolutely changed our dynamic so much. And I was telling you guys before, we're expecting our third child here coming up soon. Obviously something was working here, and it's like, it's amazing just to see what the Lord has done. And it's so cool because now, I got a couple boys, just being able to teach them about how to treat a woman properly, how to love and respect her, that it's about love, connection, and intimacy. And I'm excited to have these conversations with them one day, not tomorrow, they're very young, but one day when I get to have those conversations so they can experience what we get to experience and they don't have to go through that hard time. It's going to be a cool thing.
In your late teens to early 20s, did you ever imagine that this would be your life?
Absolutely not. I said MBA. If not that, I'll probably be coaching. I'll probably be in the movies or something, or, famous rapper. Come on. It was a different time in my life. But anyway, no, I absolutely had different plans for sure. And like I said, the last thing I wanted to do was be a missionary or someone going out and spreading the word. Anything but Africa. That was my motto right there. But, yeah.
That's crazy.
You feel fulfilled doing this though, right?
Absolutely.
Does it become overwhelming? Does it become, has this ever became a problem where you were like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore? Have you guys?
We went through a period. I don't feel attacked to look at Korn anymore. I don't feel like I'm sitting in a hotel room last night, a really vulnerable place. I don't feel that temptation. The way that I was being attacked was the devil just going, you know what? You've done a good enough job already. 400 people, that's good. Just put the course up there. Just maintain the website. People will come find it. You're going to be good. Just you're good. And going, you know what? We're not making money with this thing. We have not cracked some code of like, now I'm making $3 million a year. No, that's not what's going on. Our course is $10 a month. Okay. You got to sell a lot of those to, be getting by. And so that temptation of just, why don't you just get a job? Why don't you just go do something else? Why don't you just whatever? And, whether it's speaking, or I put a whole day into making this video and 4 people watch it, and you're like, algorithm, come on. And it's ultimately, I don't serve the algorithm. I serve the Lord, and the Lord is saying, do this, and I'm going to take care of it. Here's one of the crazy things that happened, another God moment. We got to buy a minivan because we're expecting the 3rd. We had just bought a car to fit the 2 kids. So now I'm like, come on, we got to buy this new car, all this stuff. We end up finding this car, minivan. It was $15,000 off because there was hail that hit a car in Arizona. Are you kidding me? Hail that hit this car, $15,000 off. I had been in real estate for a long time. I had sent off some deals to this other person. It just so happened that they said, hey, there's this check that came in a referral deal. Come pick up the check. The difference between our car turning it in, and this car was $7,400. And I go, will this check work? $7,400 I got in that real estate deal. And so the Lord has I could just talk for hours and hours on just all these different God moments, but there's just been so many things. The Lord has been so heavy-handed that I'm like, we can't walk away. It doesn't matter if we don't see it. The Lord has provided, and he keeps providing. And it's like, as long as he's putting this on our hearts, as long as we're able to have breath in our lungs to do this, this is what we're going to do until he tells us to go do something else. So, yeah.
That faith is a very difficult thing. And I think that's something that her and I have experienced, because we do believe that this is what we're being called to do. And
there's a lot of trying times.
There really is. And the attacks are endless.
Relentless.
Where do you feel the biggest ones are coming from?
Our past.
Our past.
People seem to think that because you get a little bit of internet fame that you didn't live a life before that. But there's, you get it from family members. When nobody wants to feel alone, right? And you get a little bit of fame or a little bit of success, and that loneliness gets real bad because your social circle shifts. And it's no longer about a genuine connection. There's always that what if in your mindset. Like, what is it that they're trying to get from this relationship? Are they trying to get TikTok famous? Do they want money? Like, why are they really here? Do they just genuinely enjoy our time, right? There's a lot of that. I gotta be honest, a lot of it's just bullshit. And when you really sit down and look at it, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
But we both have borderline personality disorder, and we both have trauma responses that we're learning how to navigate. So having to learn how to do that on your own is hard. Having to do it for your partner while they're navigating their own storm, it's even harder because you can only captain one ship at a time.
Yeah.
And that is a very ugly thing. But every single time we have been like, okay, this is it. Within minutes, something happens, and it happened less than a week ago. We were at a point where, like, do we really want to continue this? 3 comments back to back on a TikTok that was posted. You saved our marriage. More. Like, it just continues. We've received divorce papers in the mail. We've received emails from people saying that it's affected the relationship with their children, like their home has gotten better.
We're starting to get people in their late teens and early 20s saying that we are the parents that they never had.
Wow.
That they're receiving guidance and tools that they never expected, and their lives are improving. Yeah. I take that to heart a lot.
Yeah. But we get those affirmations that we're doing the right thing when we need them the most. And I'm sure that we see them otherwise, but it's not prevalent. When you're in that moment of darkness and that one little bit of light shines, you're like, okay, there's something I need to focus on because I can see now. Yeah. And it happens every single time. We're like, this is just, I think it's time to wrap this up. It follows through where it's not time to wrap this up.
People, I mean, the trolls are going through their own thing when they're putting in mean comments and different stuff like that. But people don't understand just taking the time to write that one sentence, that one paragraph, that one whatever. Yeah. I mean, people look at you guys and just go, oh, they got it all. There's no problems, that they're good forever. I could just hate on them because they're up here. They're not even real people, right? They're just people on a screen. And you are real people. And when people write in and say those comments, and thank you for doing that, I mean, that can make all the difference. I mean, literally just writing a positive comment, just putting that into the world and just helping them, and they're helping someone else and they help someone else. I mean, that can literally change the world just by them having that moment and sharing that positivity. That's amazing.
Yeah, it goes a long way. That change affects others too, because now we have people who have you heard of our check-ins? Did you read through any of that? That was our original content. We created a check-in list for married couples because people don't know how to talk to each other. Yeah. And if you're feeling the need to express something and you go to your partner and they unload on you for it, or they turn it around about you, it makes it very hard to have those discussions. So we created a report card, and I think it's actually up to like 12 questions now, but it started at 3.
Yeah.
How's your mental health? How am I doing as a husband, and what can I do better? Right. I'm asking you for a report card. So now we have all of these other questions that are involved, and somebody else has taken our check-in list and created a kids check-in list, and they have their check-in. They call it Sweden time because it's neutral.
Yeah.
Switzerland.
Joe.
Sorry, not Sweden, Switzerland. And they've given it to their therapist, and their therapist is now giving it to other people. And it all started from our check-in list. But now therapists are utilizing that tool that one of our fans created because we created something. They found a way to make it better. And now it's on our website. You can download it. If you have kids and you want to implement check-ins with your children, we put it on a document. It's free. You guys can go on our website, download it, tobebetter.co, not .com, .co. If you go to tobebetter.com, you have to put the www. in first or it won't work because I'm not a website guy. If you are a website guy and you want to work with us, email us because I need a website guy because I don't want to do it anymore. But you're right, that change, those 4 people that saw that video could have a family or a following or you never know. We scroll TikTok like everyone else does. So we have people that we interact with that have 500 followers.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, this person follows us, and we're just a normal people having a conversation because you created something that made us think, or it was an emotional, thought-provoking moment. It's crazy the way that all that plays out.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy the other day. He's in New Zealand, and it was a Friday. And he's like, yeah, it's here on Saturday. And I was like, it's a whole nother day. This guy's on the other side of the world, and he's going through this thing. And it's just incredible to see what the Lord can do. I was on a podcast. We're All Insane, and lovely host on the show, but she does OnlyFans. And, what was so cool about that, she gave us the platform to share our story. And, I was able to pray with her and just go over, hey, it might be time to walk away from this life and just, we're not called to change everyone's life and to force anyone to do anything, but just to show them that love and that positivity. And it's just so beautiful to see what you guys have been doing, all the lives that you've been changing. You will never, ever know how many lives have been positively changed by what you guys are doing, by standing up against evil and just saying, you know what, we can share this story. The Lord has put us through this for a specific reason, and we're going to go out and we're going to share this thing. And I just want to say amen. Just keep going. I'm just excited for you guys, proud of you guys, and just it's so cool just to see it, and just an honor to be here with you guys.
And thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
So I have to ask, is there a way that we can get a code or an affiliate link for your website so that we can refer people from To Be Better to...
We might just have to do something like that. So why don't we want to put the link in the video?
There will be a link to your website. Absolutely.
That's the best way we can do it. We'll do a special link for you.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll get that done. That'll be in the videos.
So this should go live, I believe, February, because we have all of Troy's episodes in January. So it'll be the end of January, early February. So it gives us time to create that and get that going. We don't want a kickback. I just want so that we can track who goes to your website, and if they could get a deal, that would be dope.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one of the things, we have it right now. I think it's $10. If we will do a promo code so it stays $10 because we're gonna bump it up to probably 15 or something like that.
Okay.
But 7-day free trial, 30-day money back guarantee. Literally, get the course, go through it all in 3 days, record it on your computer. I literally don't care. I want you to get better, and if this is that thing that helps move you in the right direction, then do it. And we're a nonprofit, so if somebody wants to donate, if you're getting value out of it, if you just want to keep your $10 subscription for the rest of your life and just $10 a month, that's fine too. But I would just say, there's somebody right now who's saying, you know what, this is me that they're speaking to. I need to make this change. And we've all made that change. We've all stood up against that evil with whatever that battle is going on in our lives. And so I would just say, you have no idea the amount of lives that you can change, and you're never going to fully know, just like you guys will never know until you go to heaven one day and the Lord shows you. But just the Lord does have a plan. The Lord does love you. And I don't care how far you've gone, the Lord will always be there. And so, like I said in the beginning, if you want to know more about that relationship with Christ, let us know, let me know, let whoever know. I go to Rock Point Church in Queen Creek, Arizona. If you want to check them out, they're a great resource for you. But again, I just want to say thank you just so much for everything you guys are doing.
How do you like it out there?
Oh, Love it.
You love Arizona?
Although that's a whole nother story. I'll tell it off camera. I came out here. It doesn't rain in Arizona.
No.
Okay. I come out here. It's a light drizzle. I'm going to go walk to Chipotle. I'm halfway between my hotel and the Chipotle, and I'm walking, just floods, like from the heavens. And so I walk in, and I'm just soaked and drenched. I'm like, I thought this would be fun. All right. I've seen rain on TV. I've never seen it in real life, but it's a joke. It rains once a year. But anyways.
Lasted for all 5 seconds and then stopped, didn't it?
Exactly.
It can be raining across the street here and sunny here. Yeah. That's Florida. That's our climate.
Yeah.
We hate it here.
You hate it? Come join us. Come on down.
I think Tennessee is calling.
Oh, that's a
Tennessee is the
beautiful
goal.
place.
I want to buy land, and I want to reestablish what it means to have a family connection, because I think that we're losing that as a society. Bigger homes, smaller families, and I want to. I want 10 to 50 acres and just be able to, not commune, because that's not what I'm doing, but I would like to be able to provide a place for people that are close to us, like our nephews and nieces, and like get to the point where we're the matriarch and patriarch of our family, where Christmases are all done at on our homestead, and everybody's got their own little cabin they can sleep in if we want. But obviously that takes money and time.
Yes, it does.
And life happens. So
If the Lord is calling you there, then that's the place that you need to go. That's all you ever got to remember.
yeah. Is there anything else you want to ask before we wrap this up?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Well, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this one, and remember that you are the authors of your own life,
So grab a pen.
and we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.